Women make up a small percentage of the sworn officers with the Brooklyn Park Police Department, but there's an effort underway to change that. As Delane Cleveland reports, a new program aims to target some of these potential recruits while they're young.
Squad 116 respond to the Copper Trail in Sunset Park.
On the Brooklyn Park campus of Hennepin Technical College,
Caller is concerned about the subject's safety and well-being.
There's a video simulator that allows law enforcement students to practice how they'd respond to real-life scenarios.
You gonna jump?
But on this particular day,
I'd say just talk to somebody.
the students involved are all young women between the ages of 14 to 18.
I wanted to learn more about what officers do.
Canaria Hopkins is one of the 10 students who signed up for Brooklyn Park's first ever Wonder Women event. It's a program designed to help recruit more females into law enforcement.
You don't see a lot of African American females, being in law enforcement. Because I haven't seen one until today.
So this should always go nicely here.
Brooklyn Park Police are working to change that. Currently, the department has 100 sworn officers on staff, but of those 100 officers, only 13 of them are women.
It's not where we want to be. We would love to be exceeding that.
Inspector Tony Weinbeck is one of those 13 officers. She says one of the department's goals is to have at least 30 female officers by 2030. It's a pledge they call 30 by 30.
It has historically been male-dominated because, the likelihood of maybe getting in physical altercations, the likelihood of getting in confrontations, it's not stuff that is normal for the culture of women.
Make sure that you are having eye contact with the person you're speaking with.
While that may be true, Inspector Weinbeck says there are things women can bring to police work that their male counterparts cannot.
Because of women's ability with compassion, with empathy, they're less likely to use force than their male counterparts as well. So there's a lot of aspects as we start to look at how we need to adapt our policing and the strategies and the tactics behind what we do as police officers. A part of that comes down to making those decisions.
While there's no guarantee any of these young women will ultimately pursue a career in law enforcement, the officers are making that connection with them now in case they decide to go that route.
It's a lot of smart women out here that can do the same thing as men can. So I feel like it's good for more women to step out of their comfort zone and do what they want to do instead of listen to what other people have to say.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
The woman killed in a Brooklyn Park homicide early Tuesday morning has been identified. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office said Zaria McKeever was 23 years old and she died at the scene of the crime from multiple gunshot wounds. Police responded to the Eden Park apartments expecting a home invasion call, and they wound up finding a woman with gunshot wounds. 5 people have been arrested, including 2 teenage boys. Police say this incident was not random. Some residents in the Northwest Metro are scrambling to find ways to get rid of their yard waste this fall. Reporter Sonia Goins shows us what's causing the problem.
It's that time of year where everyone is raking their leaves, but once the task is done, the real work begins.
Now I'm getting calls from folks saying, well, what do I do?
Tim Pratt is the administrator of the Hennepin Recycling Group. He says some residents who have individual contract with certain haulers are stuck holding the bag.
I work with Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, Crystal, and New Hope. So I know what's happening in those cities. Waste Management's not doing yard waste pickup. They don't have yard waste service in 2022.
Because of a nationwide driver shortage, some companies are putting the brakes on yard waste service.
When they went to bring in those yard waste drivers in March, get them trained up to start in April, they found out they couldn't find enough drivers.
Pratt says residents can drop off their bag leaves at the Maple Grove yard waste site. He suggests people pool resources with neighbors.
Maybe somebody has a truck, maybe somebody who knows somebody who has a truck that can transport a bunch of leaves up there at one time.
As frustrating as it may be, do not do this. Someone illegally dumped their leaves on city property. It's also a good idea to check with your hauler and investigate alternative solutions.
We'll get to this in the end, but it's going to take a little patience and a little extra effort.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
A development in northern Brooklyn Park continues to grow. The Brooklyn Park Planning Commission approved a preliminary plat for another set of warehouse buildings at the NorthPark Business Center. The applicant, Scannell Properties, wants to build two 210,000 square foot warehouse buildings with office space on the northwest corner of Xylon Avenue North and Oxbow Creek Drive. The space is right now vacant land. This is the 9th addition to that development. Golden Valley is seeking input for improvements that are in the works for Scheid Park. Next year, the park will get a few upgrades like ice rink replacement, a new sun shelter, ball field and park shelter improvements, and court reconstruction. But there are choices. Those courts could be tennis courts, pickleball courts, or tennis courts with pickleball lines. You can weigh in at a neighborhood meeting coming up on November 15th. You can learn more about that on Golden Valley's website. This week is when we take time out of our day to say thank you to veterans. North Hennepin Community College held an event to try to connect veterans to resources. The Brooklyn Park campus held a Veterans Resource Fair to connect veterans and military students to on and off campus resources. North Hennepin has a Veteran Services Coordinator that helps serve the almost 100 veterans who are students at the college.
We find that veterans often do not seek out help. So we want to be present, and we want to be intentional in trying to reach out to that population to connect them with resources that they may not be aware of.
One of the top concerns facing veteran students isn't too unusual. They want to be able to land that job when they finish up school.